Hello again, everybody. I'm Henry T. Today we're going around the world. These gadgets, internet, wow, fascinating. I got a phone call from a friend of mine. I hadn't seen him in years. I told you the other day, he lives in Tuscany, Italy. He's outside picking grapes with his computer on his patio watching the Henry T. Show. I said, what? Tuscany, Italy? Where is that? We talked later on. He told me, and retired guy and just living the life. And he watches this show every day. And I know our audience is getting bigger and brighter, larger, and we appreciate that. Thank you to all of our guests that come on here. Thank you to all our fans who watch. And it's been fun making this Henry T comeback. It's real. And today I talked to a brand new friend who impresses me. Wow. Her name is Isabel Gonzalez. We're going to talk to Isabel first about her great and growing career. She's going to be a superstar. And then after Isabel, we're going to go back and rerun an interview with the late, and I mean great, Jimmy Collins, that we did about a month and a half ago. Jimmy, as you know, passed away a few days ago, and we're going to rerun that interview that is compelling, exciting, and wow, the memories he shared, his significance in Las Cruces, the Aggie basketball game, the Final Four. We'll run that after our meeting here with Isabel Gonzalez. She works with the Lair, New Mexico. Talented. God blessed her with Hollywood looks, great, great mind, organized, exciting when she talks. She gets so involved in her work, knows a little bit about everything, and truly a sports fan. And when I see her at Lobo games and when I chat with her, she's always so pumped up. Man, she's going to be great. The sky's the limit. I want you to meet her right now. Isabel Gonzalez, my longtime friend. How are you, Isabel? Good to see you. Great to talk to you today.
Henry, you are way too nice to me. You make me sound way cooler than I am, but it's so nice to talk to you today. So nice to see you through Zoom. You're right, technology is amazing. Like we can see each other right now, even from different places.
It's been a while. We're always meeting at Lobo games and the post-game shows. I love the way people honor you with that great respect. And when we talk, I realize how well informed you are. Man, you're a hero of mine. Thank you for giving us so much of you every time we see you.
Well, thank you. I look up to you. I always try to look at other people who do kind of what I do, and you're one of those people that I admire, and I always try to be better. Like you've helped me out a lot before, just giving me some little tips here and there. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. You know, you've got a degree, you're seeking out your future. You've got so many directions to go. Isn't that nice to have a choice of where you want to take your career?
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I'm one of those people who like to try a bunch of different things. Obviously, my focus is sports, but it's always nice to, write or try radio. I've been trying radio a lot more this year, which it was honestly outside my comfort zone, but I have to push myself to do something new. So, TV, radio, writing, all of it, I'm always down. I always say yes to things just to see how I can do it.
That's what I admire about you. You know, if you don't stick your neck out a little bit, he who does not take risks will never succeed. So you venture everywhere. That's why I called you versatile. I want to go back. mom and dad days, growing up, how much did mom and dad inspire you to have the ambition, to realize that you have capabilities? What did they do for you to say, Isabel, man, put your mind to it, go do it, you're capable? Did they give you that early ambition?
Oh, for sure. I think they normalized trying anything. They were never like, "Oh, you want to do sports? Don't do it." Like, no, they always said yes. Like, you want to try it? You're curious about something? Go for it. That's how I started ice skating. That's, how I did film stuff at UNM. They always just encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to try and just to do my best at things. They never discouraged me from something that I had a passion of, and I appreciate that. They're always there for me to support me. And I mean, sports media, it's not like they know a lot about it, but my dad loves sports. He was like, "Hey, I like sports, go ahead, like, I encourage you to do it, so then maybe I can watch you on TV someday." But they're amazing. My dad was a lawyer when I was little, and he and my mom have done a bunch of different things. They used to have a restaurant. My dad's side of the family used to have this factory where they made like some clothes and stuff for like baptisms and communion. So they've done a lot of different things, and they've succeeded at all of them because their rule is whatever you're gonna try, you gotta give it your best. If you don't give it 100%, then what's the point?
Yeah. Well, you excel at everything. You don't just start it, you finish it. You're a starter and a finisher. I've noticed that about you. And you articulate so well. You're friendly. You smile a lot. Man, I'll tell you what, you're the hit for that post game press conference at UNM, and you make friends so easily. Friends. Is it important to garner as many friends as possible? If so, why?
Oh yes, for sure. I make it a point to anywhere I go. I'm just friendly to everyone, whether they are, like above you or below you in career. It doesn't matter. Like, everyone's a person, and you should treat them the same. And you never know who can help you out. So if you have a chance to help someone out, why wouldn't you? Just this year with the pandemic, of course, things were really crazy. And I was just networking with people, just talking to old friends, and wherever I could help them, I would. And I had one who ended up connecting me to other people who ended up helping me get other opportunities. So it really shows you the power of building relationships. Like, our relationship I built 2 years ago helped me out this summer to advance in my career. And it wasn't because I was seeking for, advancing my career, but it was just being friendly and keep those connections going.
Amen. You know, watching you, you're always trying to be your best. You don't give it a half effort. At those post game press conferences, man, you sit up straight. You make sure you're paying attention. You're writing notes. And when they call on you to ask the question of the head coach, you're ready. And you always ask a compelling question. That's why I really pay attention to you, because I learn from you. You get me pumped up. I say, man, look at her attentiveness. She wants to be involved. Do you feel like that's your character as a professional, being involved, being attentive?
Oh, for sure. Of course, everyone can watch a game, but I try to look at patterns or interesting things that happen during the game. And that's where I base my questions off of. I'll look at like a specific guy's stats and say, hey, this is not his usual game. So I should ask about that. Did something happen? Um, but yeah, I'm always looking for a story. Everything I ask is not just random questions. I always ask because I have something else in mind when it comes to the storytelling that I'm going to be doing later. But I always appreciate your questions. You always go first, of course. Paul Weir has a lot of great respect for you. And I love your questions because yours are about emotion. And that's really what sports are about. You ask them, like, how do you guys feel today? What about the effort you guys give out today? Um, I admire that a lot because it reminds me of what's really important. Like, hey, this game is about people. So let's focus on people.
Thank you. What a wow, flattering compliment. Where do you want to take your career with all the skills and versatility that we've already talked about? When you look in your future, and you're a visionary young lady, what do you see out there for you?
I want to keep doing sports, of course. Right now, my main love is basketball. So I want to keep doing that. I've been doing a little bit more writing with a couple other websites with teams around the nation. So I would like to keep growing in the college basketball world at a little bit of a bigger level, maybe national level. And eventually, I want to become an NBA reporter. I think that would be so fun. And it's competitive,
Microphone
but
with a microphone on the court. Let's go to Isabel with the Lakers. Isabel, how about LeBron? You're covering his last game. Wow, I can see you there.
that would be such an honor, yeah. Whether or not they want to put me on the microphone, we'll see. But at least writing, that would be so fun. It would be such an honor to be covering a team like the Lakers. That's a dream. It's a little bit far right now, but I know I'm gonna get there someday. I try not to focus on like, oh, I have to get there by this time. I just do the little steps I can. Like how can I be better today? What can I do this week that's gonna help me for next month or something like that?
Wow. This Lobo team this year, it's going to grow on us. They're 2-0 right now. Two road trips. The pandemic has not allowed them to play a home game yet. I hope they get that opportunity. But I know you're on that website looking for them, where to find them. You're sharp with the computer. How about what you know right now about Coach Weir's Lobos?
So like you said, the pandemic has everything crazy. They were kind of homeless for a while. They weren't sure where they were gonna go, and it's a little bit crazy what happened. So New Mexico was in Texas, of course, and I mean they're still in Texas, but they were coming back here for finals. So they did, and they were seeing if they were gonna go back to Texas or Vegas. But Rice, actually, the head coach, ended up calling the New Mexico strength and conditioning coach because Rice needed a game. With the pandemic, a lot of games are being postponed. So New Mexico and Rice ended up scheduling that game. And the Lobos were like, well, we need more help. So Rice gave them their facilities for a week and they helped them schedule two other opponents, which, of course, as you know, the Lobos need a lot of practice because they haven't been able to do much of that lately. So of course, they scheduled two games for this week in preparation for Boise State next week. So a lot of craziness has happened. The Lobos have had to make a lot of adjustments and just kind of go with the flow. But it's going to be a fun team. The character of all those guys there seems like a really good character. The energy is great. Of course, the first game and second game, a little bit of nerves, you could tell, maybe a little bit of sloppiness because of those nerves at first. But overall, they look like a talented group of guys and they have a very positive attitude. With everything they've gone through, they're doing great.
There's so much you said there, and you said it with that believability, confident way of yours. So that leads me to my next question. Coach Weir, of course, he had some character issues with other players the last couple of years. He's had a rebound. He's learned a lot about himself as a coach. And I like him. I think he's got the makings of a great coach. What are your thoughts on Coach Paul Weir?
I think so too. He's young, but he's very, very smart. And you can tell just how he answers questions, what he does with his team. He thinks about everything, not just the on the court stuff. He's always talking about, like even with the pandemic, he talked about the importance of the guys using their time in a productive way, not necessarily just studying basketball all the time, but taking care of themselves mentally and their families. He knew that was going to be important for them to, not get back on the court and be anxious and depressed. He wanted them to have a little bit of a break during that tough time. To me, that speaks a lot about the coach because that means he is not just a coach. He's a person who cares about his players in, a normal human personal level. And he is smart. He knows what he's doing. he every season they pick a team to kind of study a little bit more. And this year they picked Florida State. So Weir reads a lot of basketball books. He looks at a lot of NBA coaches and, of course, a lot of other college basketball coaches on what they're doing. It's not just his ideas, it's a lot of other people's ideas that come together into his own game plan. And that says a lot. He likes to study. He's a professor right now.
Wow. How about the way he treats the media? How do they treat him? What kind of rapport does Coach Weir have with the local media, in your opinion?
He's always very respectful, no matter what. I know a lot of coaches sometimes let emotion get to them, but Weir tries to be very level-headed, very respectful, make sure he answers everyone's questions. He makes extra time if he needs to, and that speaks volumes of him, of course, because yes, he has to talk to the media, but at the same time, when he talks to them, he talks for real. Like he tells you, of course, there's some coach talk here and there, but he tells you as much as he can. And you feel that respect going both ways. If you ask a question respectfully, he'll reply respectfully. Even if it's something he might not want to answer, he'll still, tell you in a respectful manner, like, hey, I can't comment on that right now.
Wow, that is accurate. And the way you expressed it could not be expressed better than what you just described of Coach Weir. Because one thing I'll add is accessibility. He'll stop in his tracks, no matter where he is on campus or at a grocery store. He'll give you his undivided attention. You know, and in modern days, that is that's rare in my opinion. But that's the kindness of this man. Yeah, he's a basketball coach. He delivers the play for you and talks to his team and motivates. But wherever he is, he's going to give you all of him. Is that accurate?
For sure. And since you mentioned the community, um, Coach Weir is teaching a class at Anderson this semester. And I'm sure you heard that the Anderson College decided to make a scholarship for JB White, who passed away earlier this year. And Weir donated his salary to get that started.
Wow.
So, exactly. It says a lot about him. It was JB White was going to be one of his players, and unfortunately, he didn't get to play with the Lobos, but Weir still cared about him. And of course, like he cares about his players and the community in general. And I thought that was really cool because it's a good way to keep JB White's memory alive and making something tragic turn into something positive for other people later on.
Yeah. As you go into your future, I see no limitations. There are no parameters for you. Nothing's going to block you from pursuing what you really want to do. How do you accept that description? Because that's my observation of you. You can do anything you want to do. Do you possess that kind of confidence?
I do, but I think it's also important to just show that you're also a normal person. Like I'm a go-getter for sure. I always push myself and I'm always very positive. As you know, you've known me for a while now. But of course, like any normal person, sometimes I doubt myself and sometimes, I get a little bit anxious about the future. And that's okay. The important part is that although like any normal person, I'll freak out about, oh my gosh, where's my career going? That doesn't matter. I push it aside and I keep going. We don't wake up every morning in the best mood. Like nobody does that. But the important part is get out of bed and just do it. And that's my attitude. Like people see me smiling all the time because that's the person I want to be. Doesn't mean I'm always happy, but it's important to at least try to be positive in life.
The Lair, New Mexico, well respected organization. People hook on to that website. They learn a lot. You got great leadership around you at the Lair. What do you do for them and the organization itself? How do you toot their horn today?
So yes, the lair. I'm very grateful I get to work for them because it used to be the Lobo lair a couple years back, and I always thought they were really cool. They were the insiders for Lobo basketball. They broke a lot of news, and they sent me a message asking if I wanted to talk to them for a potential job. And this was, oh my gosh, like 2.5 years ago. I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, they want to talk to me. But yeah, now that I'm working with them, it's still the same thing. It's just a little bit more modern. It used to be just a forum or mainly a forum, and now it's a forum with some media stuff. So what I do is I read a lot of the articles on the homepage, and I focus on Lobo basketball, of course. I do some football stuff as well, but my main focus is basketball, and I help them with Twitter, of course, and like Instagram and the web page. I just look at the forum, try to start conversations there because it's a very community oriented website. It's not just hear the news, just read it and go. It's a hey, what do you think about this? Because it started as a forum, and New Mexico is such a special place for sports fans that the lair takes advantage of that. It's like, hey, let's all come together and talk about our favorite teams.
I like them. I like what they do. Sell them for a full minute and tell us who are not affiliated with the lair why they should be and why they should go there for their information every day.
So for anyone who doesn't check out the Laranum yet, you should check it out because if you are a Lobo sports fan, you can talk to a lot of other Lobo sports fans. Of course, there's things like Twitter where you can tweet at someone, but this is a place where all of that is in one place. And that place, the lair, it's really a community. People, of course, talk about sports, but they'll also sometimes do threads on like, hey, what's your favorite burger in Albuquerque? And there'll be tailgates on a regular year. There's a Lobo lair, or now the lair tailgate, where everyone gets together, everyone from the page, and they get together before the Cherry and Silver event. Right before that very first Lobo basketball event, all the fans come, say hello to each other, talk about what games they're going to, and just share a lot of food and a lot of stories, a lot of laughs. That's the same type of environment you see on the website. So it's a fun one. Of course, like check it out because of my stories, but don't just do it for me or for my stories. Check it out because the community is really, really fun.
And, we're going through a tough time. We have to be aware. Um, you have to wear a mask everywhere we go. You got to be cautious, very careful, very attentive to other people. And life has changed since I even last saw last you. What do you think about the way this COVID has changed the sports world? In particular, how it's changed the Lobo Nation, our affiliation with the team, the pit, the Pan Am and Las Cruces. What's happened, in your opinion?
Well, obviously for the pit, it's weird, to not imagine the pit this season having a bunch of fans just being as loud as they can. That's something that I would have never imagined before because that's what I know the pit for. Every time I'm there, it's just my ears are ringing afterwards because it's so loud. And it is unfortunate that we won't get that this season. But at the same time, it's to me it's cool to see how people still come together because of sports. When everything shut down, it was odd to not have sports to watch. And then they started again and people were excited. And to me, that really spoke about how much sports really mean to people, not just entertainment, but it's just a nice distraction from COVID and everything else going on in the world. And Lobo fans are super excited, especially like this past weekend with Lobo football. Like they did great. That was fun to watch. And everyone on Twitter was just positive comments, all the positivity in the world was there. And then the basketball team, of course, they were going through rough times, but fans were still excited. Like they were happy, they were supporting their team, and that's what I think we're getting out of this. Like sports, yes, they're just sports, they're just games, but it's a getaway from all the crazy reality and also just a place to show how much you can support each other. And Lobo fans have done that.
Amen. Give us a minute or two on your impressions of Coach Danny Gonzalez the two back-to-back wins, Isaiah, the quarterback, and his thrilling performance. Wrap it up for us in a quick minute.
So Isaiah Chavez, I had asked him before he even got to play what advice the other quarterbacks had given him, like Tavaka, Tuyoti, and Trey Hall. He said they just said to go out there and have fun. Don't be nervous. It's just a game. And really, I thought that was really cool that he was able to do it as a true freshman. And Danny Gonzalez believed in him. Of course, Gonzalez and Rocky Long have a tendency to be, or they're known for being tough, but they also are very good coaches and they're also very nice people. So it's a lot of confidence that's going into that football team and it's building a good culture. It's a culture of no excuses, but also believe in yourself and just work hard to make it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isabel Gonzalez. Wow. Every time I see you, you perform to the mountaintop. And today, you blessed our community, our international audience, if you will, with something very special from your mind, from your heart. You're special, Isabel, and you're going big places. One of these days, when you get to that big place, throw me a little phone call and say, Henry, I still remember you.
You're funny. I think I'm going to be calling you, asking you for a job because this comeback of yours is really strong. So please take me wherever you're working.
Well, it's fun making a comeback, I assure you. And it's really meaningful for me to have a new friend, a close friend like you. Uh, and I really mean that sincerely. So before we leave, thank you for all you do for Henry T, Isabel.
No, thank you, Henry, for inspiring me and a lot of other people here in New Mexico. You really are a legend, and I'm not just saying this to be nice to you. You really are. You're special to this state.
Well, you go, thank you. You go have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. We're going to have you on again and again because you filled the airways and you impressed us all. So once again, way to go, Isabel Gonzalez.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Looking forward to it.
All right. See you soon. By the way, real quick, how do we get in touch with you if we have a story idea?
Well, you can text me, but if someone has a different story, they can tweet at me or they can send me a private message on Twitter at CIsabelG. And or you could even like tweet it at the lair, which is the lair NM, of course. So yeah, we love ideas actually. We are of course community oriented. So if you have something, go ahead and send it.
Take care. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
And ladies and gentlemen, there is a superstar in the making, Isabel Gonzalez. Speaking about superstar, we're going to go back in time and revisit an interview that we did a month and a half ago with Jimmy Collins, Aggie great. I was a kid, watched him play. He ignited a fire under me. I love the Aggie Lobo rivalry today, but it was created then, the love in my heart for the Lobos and Aggies to get together wherever on the football field, but especially on the basketball court, at the Pan American Center in Las Cruces, or the famous pit in Albuquerque. Wow. And those days especially, because Jimmy Collins and Chito Reyes and Sam Lacey and Charlie Chris and Coach Lou Henson and all that group, wow, they were impressive. And the Lobo greats we can recall. But I'll never forget the player, the person, the personality, Jimmy Collins. Let's go back about a month and a half. And Jimmy, of course, as you know, passed away a few days ago. We're going to remember Jimmy, and we're so fortunate to have done an interview with Jimmy not too much long ago. Let's go to that interview right now with Jimmy Collins. Mexico. Hello, USA. Hello, around the globe. A nervous Henry T here today. Muhammad Ali told me, Henry T, when you stop getting butterflies, stop doing it. It doesn't mean anything to you anymore. Well, Muhammad Ali, I am inundated with butterflies today. Henry T is nervous. And when I tell you the rest, you'll understand why. I go back in memory, back in the day, 1970, the Pan American Center, the home of the New Mexico State Aggies. Lou Henson on the sideline, number 52, Chito Reyes, down on the baseline, covering that all important, and it was a defensive player too. Looking in the lane, he saw Sam Lacey. Outside, he saw Charlie Chris, and over here he saw number 22, Jimmy Collins. Today, you are blessed with Jimmy Collins, an All-American, first team. Sam Lacey's in heaven, also first team. Chito Reyes, who was all conference and all world, all nice guy, and led the league in girlfriends. He was out there.
Oh,
But I'll tell you, we have both Chito Reyes and the star Jimmy Collins here today. Both of them are stars. But now you know why I'm nervous? I couldn't sleep all night because here they come right in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a huge audience today. Look at the numbers already in line, waiting for the Henry T Show to start because we promoted the fact that these two Aggie stars are going to be on the air today. Welcome all the viewers. We love you. Thanks for being so loyal. But here they come, running down that ramp in the Pan American Center. And here they come. Oh, my goodness. Jimmy Collins.
yeah.
Chico Reyes right there. And here comes Jimmy right behind. It's so good to have you both on the Henry T Show. Welcome, Jimmy and Chito. How are you, Jimmy?
I am doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty good. And I noticed that you did some super research on Cheeto because you had everything right.
Am I right? Come on. Did
You
he?
had everything right on Cheeto. Cheeto was the man in more ways than one.
Come on, guys. Come on now.
Oh, Chito Reyes, you're a trip. Chito, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm fine, guys. You know, like I was gonna say, I was flattered with the little things you say, man. I don't know about all of this stuff. You know, I'm here with my partner Jimmy and you, Henry. You know, thank you for having us on. It's a real honor to be here with you guys.
You know, really and truly, and there's no lying about it. We have a lot of viewers out there today. They're Lobo fans, but it makes it even juicier because they love talking about Jimmy Collins and Chito Reyes and Sam Lacey and Charlie Chris and the great Lou Henson, who went to heaven the other day. And Chito, your thoughts about Lou Henson, your beloved coach?
You know what? I one of the most important things. You know, sometimes when we're younger, we always, you know, you hate to think about the day that, you know, when you're young, you hate to think about the day that you may lose your mother and your father in life, you know, and you hate that day, you know, and so you think about that and you hope that never counts. Well, you know, along those lines, believe it or not, I always thought how I would feel the day that Coach Henson would leave us. And to me, that's pretty significant, you know, in the sense that why do I feel that? Why did I feel that? And it had to be, of course, that he molded us, and you know, he meant a lot to me more in life than just a coach. Because as Jimmy will testify to this, he gave us direction. He gave us direction, and he gave us a purpose in life, and not just the stars. You know, I'm talking about with Sam and Jimmy and Charlie and Jeff and all of us. But to every one of us, he gave us a really good sense of direction. And just to, like I said before, you develop. He wanted us to have a build to have good character traits, and good moral traits, and to be able to develop these things, because that was going to help us in life later on. And when
Jimmy, your thoughts about your beloved friend, father figure, if you will, the great Lou Henson. Your thoughts on him
Oh,
today?
well, I can reflect the exact same thing that Cheeto is expressing. And the thing about Lou, and he mentioned me, Sam, Charlie, Jeff, we never really felt like we were stars, so to speak, because he never treated us like that. He treated us like he treated everybody else on the team. Cheeto alluded to it. When he would talk about me, he might talk about Cheeto the same way, or Charlie the same way. When you did wrong, you were told that you did wrong, but you were also told when you did right. For me, losing Coach Lou Henson was like losing a guardian angel, because I didn't know him before I went to New Mexico State. And it was a 2,000-mile bus ride. And when I got there and I got off that bus, I heard somebody call my name, but I didn't really know what he looked like. He swept me right up, took me to breakfast to the Mission Inn. We ate pancakes and stuff, and he took me from there to the gym. And that was his thing. He lived for the gym, but as Cheeto said, he also lived for developing character. You had to be a top citizen to play at New Mexico State. Some of the things that we did was a little off the rails. I don't know how he found it out. There was word that Charlie told him, but I don't know. But what we did off the rail, he found out what we were doing, and he slapped it right back in order. So we had college moments where college students do things that you're not supposed to do. He knew about it. He slapped us back. We did nothing, absolutely nothing, to tarnish the name of New Mexico State or Coach Lou Henson, because he made it that way.
Let's go back to the Mission Inn, having breakfast. What was it about that conversation that convinced you, Jimmy Collins, that you wanted to be a Aggie at New Mexico State?
Nothing. Nothing convinced me. What actually convinced me, because when we left the Mission Inn, I liked it. His conversation was good because we talked basketball. It was easy for me to talk basketball. But talking basketball and playing basketball, two different things. So he took me from the Mission Inn to the gym. I believe the name of that gym was Williams Gym. Cheeto, you correct me if I'm wrong on it.
yes,
It was Williams Gym. And he took me to Williams Gym and he said, you're built like a ball player. Let me see you shoot a jump shot. And I said, sure, I can shoot. But I had been on the bus for 4 days. And when I caught the ball and I shot an air ball. And I'm thinking, give me another one. The second one was an air ball as well. And I'm thinking at that time, I don't know, maybe I better get back on this bus. This might not be the place for me. He asked me if I could dunk. Once again, I could dunk, but 4-day bus ride, I could barely get over the net. So the look on his face told me, I don't know about this guy, but he didn't say anything negative. He just said, hey, when the guys get here, we're going to Williams Gym and we're going to play. When we went to Williams Gym and played, everybody who should have been there was there, and everybody who was going to stick showed Coach Henson. And of course, Mary Henson too. And Cheeto and I, what an important part she was for our ball club.
Cheeto, do you recall those days too when you first got there and met sweet Lou Henson?
Oh, you know what? I remember they picked us up at the El Paso airport, and I remember, I was familiar with Las Cruces, but they took us to the dorms, and I remember the assistant coach, Coach Murphy, had taken us. He said, "Well, look, this is where you're going to be," and I'm looking around. I said, "It's just like a little cot, and nothing, empty cot, and not even a pillow, and you had to bring your own pillow." And I'm thinking, wow, I saw all these But I said, okay, this must be all part of it. But I remember this is distinctively that the coach says, okay, leave your bags here, and then we're going to go up to Sam and Jimmy's room because they're playing cards up there. I want you to go meet the guys. So I remember we dropped off our bags in the room and we walked up in the alumni hall, and we walked up to Sam and Jimmy's, and you can hear music going. And we get to the room, and Coach knocks on the door, and he hears the music, and he opens the door, and whoa, man, you look up and Sam's covering the whole door, man. You look all the way to the ceiling. I said, holy Macau! And then we look, there's Jimmy, with it sitting on the bed looking at us. And I said, oh man, these are the big boys here. They ain't no high school here. These are the big boys now. I just think I remember that, and I think from then on, one thing that I always remember, Henry, is the fact that these guys always accepted, and I said, well, they probably looked at me and what this or, but I said, well, I got to prove myself to these guys. But I remember meeting these guys, and I said, okay, it's a challenge to me. I just can't be here, and just because I'm from the area or whatever. But I had to prove myself to these guys. But man, when they opened the door and I saw this, I looked at these guys. And, oh man, you're the big boys,
Jimmy.
The thing about it, it shows you how important Cheeto was to our program, because I think I told you that it took me a 4-day bus ride to get from New York to New Mexico. They flew Cheeto in. That's how important he was. He was on the plane. They flew him in and rode him around and showed him everything. But he was worthy. He was definitely worthy, because not only was he a good player, he was a super teammate.
Back in the day, when you were a little kid, Jimmy, who inspired you to be a good young man? Who inspired you to be an athlete? Who was it that led you down the right road immediately?
Well, my mother led me down the right road, because she was 5'1", but she would slap a ring around your head if you did something wrong. And she would always tell you what was right and what was wrong. So she led me down the right road. But I got Dave Bing was at Syracuse at that time, and I used to watch him, and I used to try to emulate and imitate him. And that certainly helped me a great deal. One other person that I really, really aspired to be like was Will Chamberlain, but unfortunately, I didn't get to be 7 feet.
Wow. Man, those are landmark figures in the world of sports. Chito, who were your early heroes that inspired you to be a good person?
Well, to be a part of a good person, of course, it was my grandmother and my mom, my dad, of course. Like I mentioned before, my mom and my dad never had really any real formal education. But I mean, that school of life, that was taught was by, it came down like from my grandmother into my mom and my dad, and Henry, the thing about it is that I guess maybe I respected them so much, and Jimmy will tell you, we couldn't really go around town and act dumb and act stupid or act do, because that just wasn't allowed. And I don't mean that somebody was on us and checking us out, but within ourselves we had this little self-patrol thing that we had to check, because we just didn't do that. And not just because who we were or we were playing, but you just didn't go along. It just didn't happen. And I know that the way
we got a little breakup here on the sound here.
Yeah. They didn't have
Keep
to.
going, Chito.
Nobody had to say anything to you. They with the looks.
Well, let me go back to Jimmy. Jimmy, a moment on the floor, Jimmy. Can you hear me well?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Jimmy, are you there?
I'm here.
We're having a few technical problems here, everybody, so bear with us. A little chop here. But we're going to be all right. There we go. Jimmy.
Yes.
All right. Now describe for me a situation. You had a timeout on the sideline. Let's pretend. And coach Henson has set up a play. You're down one, hypothetically, to the Lobos. We're in front of your big crowd at the Pan Am Center. You guys come out on the floor, and man, there's under a minute. What's going to happen out there because of the instruction, the self-discipline, your leadership to win that game against the Lobos in the Pan Am Center?
Just what you described. We come out, whatever play Coach Henson drew up was the play we were going to run. We're going to move the ball. We're going to try to get it to the best person in position to score. And if that didn't work, I was going to shoot.
Amen. All right. Charlie Chris with the ball, top of the key, gets it down on the baseline. There's Chito Reyes. Reyes tries to drive, can't. There's Jimmy Collins, 22, out at the point all alone. He's got the ball. It's in the air. Boom! Aggies win by 1.
Trouble in the making.
So,
Trouble in
how
the making.
about
But you know what? Everybody could score. Cheeto could score. It just depends on the position.
What a feeling, though, Jimmy, to have that confidence. The ball's going to you in crunch time, and you're going to let it fly, and it hits the bottom of the net. The Pan Am goes crazy. What a feeling, Jimmy. Describe it.
Well, it's a feeling that it's very, very hard to describe because at that moment, when you shoot the ball, everything seems like it's going in slow motion. And then when it hits that net, it's an explosion. And everybody, especially your teammates, see the thing that our team had was we didn't care who hit that shot. All we cared about was somebody hit the shot. If Cheeto had got that ball in the corner, and he was a tremendous shooter from the corner, if he had a shot it, the rest of us was going to try and get the rebound. If it hit the bottom, we were going to run to Cheeto. Same thing with Sam, same thing with Charlie. So the feeling was one of jubilation because winning was the most important thing that we had going for us, not necessarily who took that shot.
And Chito, the crowd goes crazy. Things are calmed down. Now you're going up that little step area at the Pan Am. You're in the locker room. You guys are celebrating. What's going on? What's the feeling in there, Chito? And here comes Coach Henson to give you the evaluation of the game. Take us there, Chito.
Well, mission accomplished. Basically, I remember he always gave us a little bit of time, but then he was he knew he was going to walk in the locker room. It gave us a few minutes to kind of shower a little bit, but he always came back and even so, even if we won, he'd always point out things that would make us better for next time. And that we could count on. Like we could count on, and I tell you one thing, Henry. You're talking about Jimmy giving the ball to Jimmy. There is no other man, and I'm not just saying because he's here. Jimmy was an assassin. He would, not just during the game, but we would play pickup games before, and the games would be to 11, and the other team is winning, maybe 9-3, and then Jimmy said, "Well, give me the ball," and Jimmy would run out the game. That's Jimmy, and I'm not just saying because he's here, but he was an assassin, and I'm proud to say that he was my teammate above everything else. That, my friend,
Well, the one thing about that team, and Cheeto, you're describing it. I don't remember it quite like that, but what I do remember was whoever got a hot hand, he was going to take that shot. Whoever got the hot hand. For me, I was very blessed because there were quite a few times that I had a hot hand. But we had a team that, like Sam could score almost every time he got the ball. But when we threw him the ball and he would miss a couple of shots, if there was a brief moment where he could get into your ear, he would tell you, "Man, don't throw me the ball. I'm going to get the rebound. You take the shot." Cheeto would do the same thing. You take the shot. They would almost get mad sometimes. You mentioned the fact that I only had 2 assists because they wouldn't allow me to pass it. They wanted me to.
We're just kidding about that because, Jimmy, that was one of your famed qualifications is that you were unselfish with the basketball. You looked for the open man. And I was kidding with you earlier about 2 assists. No, you were up there around 5 or 6 per game.
Well,
It was team basketball, and you were Lou Henson's leader out there, making sure that it was team basketball. Am I right?
you're absolutely right. And I knew you were teasing about the 2 assists because I got it here on my paper. So I knew you were kidding about that. But we were a team. One of the things that made us good, and Cheeto mentioned, Coach Henson would come in and he would talk to us after a game. He would point out everything that you did to hurt the team, but he would also point out everything that you did to help the team. And I can never remember him attacking a player to the degree where it hurt him. Well, when we left that gym and went back in the dorm, where somebody was still rubbing their eyes about, you talk to me like that, it was always positive.
Wow. My goodness. Chito, the team itself, Final Four, man, you can't take that whole expression, Final Four, New Mexico State. Man, there's only 4 teams left in the country. At the start of that season, there were 400 plus. Now there's only 4 left. Did you really understand the significance of only 4 left?
Well, Henry, I tell you one thing. We might have heard of the Final Four, but Coach Henson never let us get ahead of ourselves. You know, we had even with our first game, we played Rice University, and even then, you had to play Rice as if they were a championship game because we just had to focus on that game. But as we went along, we started realizing it. But even then, it was not like, oh, we're going to go to the Final Four or we're going to do that. We just had a job to do. And I think that once we did accomplish that, I realized, like, you know what, I think we beat Drake. I think the last one we beat to go into the final. It's like they're telling you, wow, I'm going to Disneyland. Hey, we're going to the Final Four, man. You know, and there's something, and it became a great thing for Las Cruces, New Mexico State, and even for the state of New Mexico. You know, I know that it meant a lot to a lot of the people there. So that's what
was it like, Jimmy, to be in the Final Four? Chito so eloquently described what the feeling was. How about for you, the Final Four, UCLA?
For me, Henry, we always looked forward. See, we played UCLA 2 years in a row, and then we skipped them. Was it 2 years? Anyway, we always faced them, and we knew that was our biggest nemesis. We knew that with the first year, Kareem was on the team. The next year, they didn't have Kareem anymore, but they had Patterson, they had Wicks, and they had Rowe. They had John Vallely and Henry Bibby. So we knew that at some point, if we took the right road, we would meet them again. We felt like, Henry, we really felt like we were, if not the best team in the country, we were certainly one of them. We had confidence, and we expressed it even in practice. There were times when we would get into arguments and stuff like that, but we loved each other enough that we never got to throwing punches. We could talk a lot of trash to each other in practice, get back in the dorm, and we're playing cards or shooting pool or something. What happened in practice stayed in practice. But we always felt like we were one of the best teams in the country. So getting to the Final Four was an accomplishment that we really expected.
Wow. Final moments now, guys. Chito, a thought you want to convey to the thousands, and I literally mean thousands, who are watching this show today, and they can't get away from it. The names keep on coming. Joe Garcia, Carolyn Anderson, Freddie Trujillo. Oh, that took me forever. Give us a final thought of this interview with your buddy, Jimmy Collins, talking to the whole world right now. What's going on in your mind right now, Chito Reyes?
Well, I tell you what, I'm so honored because look where I'm at, Henry. I'm in front. I'm sharing this special moments with the whole world, with my partner, my brother Jimmy, and you, man. And what else can a man ask for? The blessing, being blessed with the opportunities that we had, and the people. And I want to extend all my thanks to everybody out there. And you know, even though you guys might have rooted against us, and you some for us, but we loved you all, man. You were part of what made us who we are, and that what we were back then brought us to the point where we're at now. And I think Jimmy and I are pretty blessed to say hey, we're happy where we're at right now. And thank you to everybody tonight, and to my brother Jimmy and you, my brother. Thank you so much for giving us this platform.
Wow, that hits you in the heart.
Yep.
Thanks, Chito. Your
Yeah.
thoughts right now, Jimmy, as we get ready to say goodbye to the whole world watching you right now.
My thoughts are pretty much reflect what
Henry, you're good to go? Yep.
The backyard when I was a kid with my little hoop. I pretended I was Jimmy Collins. I pretended I was Chito Reyes. Oh, that Aggie team was great. The Lobo team was great. But if you want to see the entire interview, go to our website, Game Face Live, the website to see the entire interview with Jimmy Collins and Chito Reyes. And right now, I'd like to say thank you to Amestoy Drywall. Pierre Amestoy, what a champion. She's done so much for me and kids over the years. Indigo Mortgage. Ben Lucero. Man, Ben says if you get a cheaper rate, go to them. But it's going to be hard to beat Indigo Mortgage. Great people there, especially Ben Lucero. Rax Lumber. Richie Tabbitt, the Tabbitt family. They're amazing people, nice. Go to them and they will welcome me in their store. Say hi to them for Henry T. The canteen. Wow. And thank you again to GovTV, Comcast 26, and the great, big, impressive, big and bad ProView Network. What an honor to be on those stations today. What an honor, period, to be with you today across the world, especially across the land of enchantment, across our great nation. And to the Aggie Nation, love you. We support you. And today we grieve with you the loss of a great friend, a great Aggie in Jimmy Collins. To the Aggie Nation who contacts me regularly, God bless you all. I love going to Aggie games. I love broadcasting Aggie games. I love going into the Pan Am Center. I've been there. I did TV for a couple of years with Coach Henson. Oh, what a thrill. Have a great day. We'll see you on Monday, same time, and we'll always remember Jimmy Collins. Take care.